My name is Iggy. I'm here at the Better BF Bivol press conference. I'm delighted to be joined by cruiserweight Billam Smith. Chris, how are you, brother?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, mate. Yourself?
I'm very good. This is a crazy event. I mean, just seeing it here, you're into the press conference. It's going to be a ridiculous card. What do you make of it?
Yeah, phenomenal card. The BS season keeps producing these phenomenal cards. Cards we've never seen before. So many fights that could be headliners in their own right. So yeah, it's exciting.
How far until we see you on the undercard? Because there's some massive fights for you that we can see. How far till that?
Obviously, I'm headlining in Riyadh in November now.
Yes.
So November 16th. So we're there. So yeah, looking forward to it. Got just under 8 weeks to go. So exciting times.
Yeah, I mean, you've been on a whirlwind. You got that world title that you wanted. What's it been like for you in this stage of your career, going through the fights? You won the world title. What's it been like?
Yeah, phenomenal. It's been a dream come true. I've been really enjoying it and enjoyed the journey all the way up to winning the world title. And obviously, that was a phenomenal night for me. And have had a couple of good nights since as well. But now it's all about unifying and sort of cementing that legacy.
Yeah. Lawrence Okoli, Richard Riakpo. I mean, it's a great resume in the cruiserweight division. What do you make of them two if you had to compare them in the fights that you had against them?
Yeah, Lawrence was a more difficult fight. Even though I knew Lawrence very well, he's so effective at what he does. He's a very people just look at him and think he can't do this, he can't do that. But he's very effective at what he does. Very very awkward stylistically. He uses his attributes to his advantage. So yeah, I found that a much more difficult fight.
Yeah, Jai Opetaia on this card. That's someone that we've been sort of looking at that fight and we've been wanting it. I mean, as a boxing fan, that is going to be an incredible fight. Hopefully, when it does happen, how far away are we from that and getting that unification on?
Yeah, I think obviously I'm unifying next against Zurdo Ramires, which is a really tough fight. Obviously, Jai's got Jack Massey, and fingers crossed we can both come through that, and then it'll be next.
Yeah, we saw Zurdo against Bivol back in the day, a year or two ago now. Have you watched any of that fight? Is that something you'll look at a bit of tape on?
Yeah, for sure. I've been watching that fight. Bivol's very, very clever. If you watch the things he does in that fight, he's obviously always very well balanced in all his fights, but it's very. But Zurdo still puts up a really good fight, and it's not like he just loses 12 rounds to nil. He wins rounds. He's very effective at what he does, and to only lose to Bivol, who is one of the smartest fighters out there, it's no detriment. It's his only loss. So he's Zurdo's a very effective fighter, very effective, and I've got to be on my A game.
You mentioned it there. He's really good at what he does. What do you have to be good at to make sure you get the victory that night?
I've got to be the best version of me. I really have. It has to be a career best performance. I've got to meet. We both had a high work rate, so I expect it to be an absolute firefight, to be honest. And but at times, got to be smart. But yeah, got to do damage and do what I do best, and take his strengths away from him.
You boxed on a few matchroom cards before. You're now with Boxer. What's it been like being between the promotional companies and now working with Boxer?
Yeah, I mean, Boxer's been brilliant to me. The reason I moved is because I wanted to box in Bournemouth in my next fight. And Matchroom couldn't promise that. They said, "Oh, maybe down the line," but I really wanted to. I'd asked for years, so I had a great time with Matchroom. And then obviously Boxer took me down to Bournemouth. We had 4 fights down there back to back, and then in the 5th fight was another stadium fight. So I can't complain. It's been a phenomenal journey with Boxer and Sky Sports. So I've absolutely loved it.
Very few people in life get to experience that sort of adrenaline of being in your home stadium, being in the ring, getting victories. What is that feeling like for you, being in your hometown in a stadium? Again, not many boxers actually get to do that. I mean, what's that mean to you? We saw it afterwards, but
yeah, that's it. I mean, the emotion after the fight was everything, and just uncontainable emotion, and it was the greatest night of my career. Probably always will be, regardless of what happens, just because it's the first world title, massive underdog in my home football team. I dreamed of that moment for many years, and it came through. So it's been phenomenal. But yeah, there's still, the journey's not done.
in terms of nerves, I mean, I could imagine if that was Brighton Stadium, that's where I'm from, that would be ridiculous. I don't know how I would contain the nerves. Did you have nerves, and what did you do to sort of get through that almost and ensure you could fight at your best?
Yeah, the night before we did like a ring walk rehearsal, and kind of let my emotions out a little bit. Then got a bit like sort of lump in my throat then, and had went and sat my old season ticket seat and just looked at it and thought, this is mental. But then on the night, it's just compartmentalising it and just zoning in on the fight and doing that. So that's what I had to do on the night, and obviously managed to just zone in, and then let the emotion out after.
Little rundown. Vidal Riley, someone you've known, I think, since the amateurs. I think you boxed him a couple of times. I'm sort of from the influencer world. That's sort of where I got started. But Vidal is someone that's risen through the ranks quite quickly, had a lot of inactivity. What do you make of potential, like his rise through and potentially maybe fighting Vidal one day? Maybe for a belt, who knows? But
Yeah, no, Vidal's a very good fighter. We boxed in my last amateur fight. He beat me on a split. So yeah, he's a very, very talented fighter. He's having tougher tests now, which is what he needs to. You have to go through those. He's still young. Got some developing to do. But yeah, if that fight came up in the future, it'd be a great fight. He's a very skilled operator, and got a lot of respect for Vidal.
quick run through. Anthony Joshua last weekend, crazy main event, Wembley Stadium, 98,000 people. What was your reaction to that? What unfolded that night?
Yeah, I didn't obviously expect it to be necessarily that one side. I'd not expect Daniel to come through, but I thought he could. I picked him in a couple of things, but only because the weakness I saw before in Daniel was kind of his mindset. But he'd shown in his last two fights that he's able to persevere and get through it. So then there was like, he hasn't got any glaring weaknesses. Yeah, he takes shots, but he's also got a phenomenal chin. But and then I'd say that the question marks for me were over AJ, going into that fight, because he hadn't had any tests against any punches in the last few years. So yeah, that was the question marks, and I think obviously they weren't exactly answered in the on fight night, and crazy night, great win for Daniel Rhea, superb win.
Final one from me. What's your early prediction? Have you got a message for Zurdo, and what is your prediction?
I believe I put on a career best performance and win the fight. No message for him. I know he's training well, training hard. I look forward to seeing him.
Billam Smith, thank you very much for your time, brother.